Social media. Everybody wants to be good at it, not everybody knows how to be good at it. What's going on, guys? Today I'm going to be talking to you guys about how we can increase conversions with your brand and how possible it is for you to actually increase your conversions as an e-commerce seller today, especially if you're selling on Amazon, Etsy, Walmart, etc. And it's really going to be broken down into 3 specific principles. And these 3 specific principles are going to be very crucial to how you actually grow long term. Number 1, think that it's possible for you to create more purchases by simply posting on social media. No, it's never going to work. It's not going to work because we're not able in 2024 to capture enough attention with less followers and with no audience to actually create a conversion. The only way that that happens is by creating better media. And so the 3 principles that we're going to be covering today is 1, how you can create more captivating media for your products. 2, what type of conversions are actually going to be happening and how the conversions are going to be set up on a store like Shopify, or if you're selling on Etsy and you want to increase your marketplace and sell on Meta Catalog, or anybody who would really want to actually focus on that. And then number 3, we have the umbrella behind it all. What's covering the content, what's covering the purchases and the creatives, which is really the ads behind it. So your ad strategy isn't just pay-per-click, it's not just performance marketing, but it's email marketing, it's lead gen, it's how you're actually going to create more unified transactions and unified connectivity with potential clients and customers. And so today, this is the 3-step strategy on how to quickly increase conversions through social media, building out your systems for your e-commerce brand. And this is how I've done it myself for brands that are working with Instant 360, who are making over 7 figures, 8 figures, and sometimes brands that are making even 9 figures who were associated with only because of social media. And so we manage social media brands that are working specifically with Amazon, working with Shopify to increase distribution and direct to commerce or direct to consumer purchases. So number 1, we're going to get into the creatives behind your media. There's a list of things that you need to do to increase conversions as a creator in any space. The number 1 thing that you're going to want to do for any brand trying to increase revenue is to increase consumption first. And so consumption means before you make the purchase, everybody has this idea of what the product is. And so I've got a potential e-commerce product here, and the only reason that anybody's going to click on this product is 1, if I capture their attention, or 2, if I add benefit to them. And so a simple way to make more conversions and to make sure that your creatives are working well is you can send your creative to anybody in the world and they'll be interested in it, not because of the niche, not because of the specific, anything other than your specific creative that you're offering to them. The media, the graphic, the video. If you can appeal to somebody's attention within the first 3 to 5 seconds, then you have them for the next 3 to 5 seconds to deliver your value proposition. And so everything creative that you ever do will rely on your ability to first grasp their attention, meaning hook them in, and 2, fulfill that grasp of attention with a benefit, a solution, or something even more entertaining. And so you have to treat your brand's creatives just like any Netflix show, any long form, short form creative that you're into today. All of these things are going to be something that you have to take into consideration and study when you're creating better creatives for your media. And this goes into conversions, which is number 2. When you have the creatives, what you're going to want to do is set up a clear conversion system and tracking system for your brand. And so that means Google Analytics. That means Google Tag Manager. Making sure a tag is set on every one of the properties that you're working with. Because it's not as important to actually gather the traffic as to sometimes just grasp the attention and make sure that the conversion is completed by the actual setup and the tracking of that traffic. So sometimes you'll have a creative that runs well, but if your creative is getting a lot of attention but they're dropping off at the checkout page, then it's not the problem with your creative as much as it is with the actual checkout or something that's going on between the funnel stage, right? And so before we end with tracking, which is number 2, how you track conversions, what the story of the tracking is, there's 2 things that you want to consider. One thing you want to consider is making sure that Google Analytics has everything that you need as far as when somebody views a product, when somebody views a blog, where that traffic goes in the journey, where a certain association is happening with a content piece. For example, if you have a link that's operating on Instagram and a link that's operating on TikTok, where are all of these things tracked to make sure that your actual analytics is set up? So that's the number 1 thing that you will want to focus on, making sure that you have the creatives and the tracking. If you have those 2 things, then you have something, you can go off and you can create more conversions for yourself in any space. In fact, I'll probably create a link below where you can see exactly how to checklist all of the things that I'll be talking about in this video. So third, we're going to get into the umbrella of those 2 things, which is your performance marketing, your email strategy, your leads, your opt-in strategy, what's going to connect your conversions, what's going to connect your analytics, what's going to connect all of the creatives you've done. And so you need to spend a weekend, really, like spend a whole weekend, pack up your bags and go to a hotel or go to a friend's house or go somewhere where you can be secluded, even if it's a place where you can get remote Wi-Fi at a camp somewhere, and really figure out what the SOPs are and what the overarching procedures are that track everything that you do in the Pareto principle. And I think 80% of the things that you do are not getting you results. It's the 20% that are actually creating revenue. And so it's important to figure out what in your business or your brand is going to create the most revenue. Sit down with a pencil and paper or type out all of the things that are going to create more revenue for your brand. That's number 1. Number 2 is you're going to then connect all of the resources, all of the apps. If it's a Shopify app connection and you are posting on TikTok and you say, okay, I identified TikTok videos as a way to get more conversions. Well, then how is that being distributed? And how can you increase that distribution? Maybe that's through a Shopify widget connection. Maybe that's through a funnel where you're inclusive of it. Or maybe it's by creating a landing page only for your media that captivates the successes and the great stuff that you've done with the creatives on TikTok. Go down the web and really create all the associations that you need to make sure that you can increase more conversions and have a better and smooth tracking system. And so this speaks to ads creatives and ads planning. It speaks to your ad segmentation, your Advantage Plus, your Google Performance Max campaigns. It speaks to where you're going to get the most revenue from top to bottom. So if I had a brand that I had on Amazon or on Etsy and that I didn't have on Shopify, and I wanted to get that increase and get social media running for my page so that I could increase conversions, I would break everything down into important and urgent, right? Stuff that creates revenue and that you can do really, really quickly, or that you need to do in a quick amount of time so that you can get more results. And then the things that are not urgent and not important, right? Stuff that you can build out down the road. And that's kind of how you're going to have to segment everything so that you can create more success online. This speaks to where you segment your budget, right? Because budget is very, very comprehensive or your budget needs to be very comprehensive to distribute all the things that you're doing, just as your time budget is. And so keep in mind all of the associations that you make in order to build your business, in order to sustain growth, and then in order to captivate more growth, and what those actions are going to be. If you're overspending on ads, for example, which many people are, then what is the ad that's overspending? And what's the system to actually, or the SOP to actually optimize the spend? What and when in the optimization do you actually need to quit spending on that specific ad and try something else? If it's email marketing and you're not getting enough emails for the subscriptions that you guys have, or if you're not creating a big enough incentive, then there needs to be a way that you understand where that's segmented and where the chain connects, in which you can ultimately end up either saving on revenue increasing the revenue, increasing the profit, or reducing the amount of bad ad spend or bad capital is being spent on things that you shouldn't. And so that's going to give you a comprehensive idea, because the real goal is, how do I do social media long enough for it to pay off, right? And so initially, you have to have all the systems and the tracking ready. You have to have all of the basics in media for you to go out and conquer more market share on the social media space. And then secondly, you need to be able to be there long enough for you to become entertaining, to be a leader in that specific niche or marketplace. And so that's it. That's all you guys need to know to create your brand on social media. If you guys have any questions about how you can go deeper into this, because a lot of this is open-ended, and I could go an hour in training talking about this. I could even go 10 hours probably into breaking down each and every facet to the business and how it would be run from a social media engagement perspective. Just keep in mind, this is how 7- and 8-figure brands are making money online. It's through influencers, it's through paid ads, it's through email marketing, it's through PR. There's so many things that you have to keep a hold of for you to actually create more revenue for yourself and not lose it. And so keep that in mind. It's the long-term goals, it's the KPIs that you can conquer now, the easy wins, and the tracking of it all that's going to get you to that next stage. Remember, the more you do, the better you'll be at it. If you have any questions, just ask below. Thank you guys, and happy socialing.